Welcome back to another episode of Train for Life Fitness Podcast.
It's good to be back.
Today we are shifting gears. Usually when we do these deep dives, we're looking at the really cutting edge stuff, new studies, the latest biohacks.
The complex things.
Exactly. But today we're doing a bit of a U-turn. We are going back to the absolute bedrock of all of this.
The foundation that, it holds the whole house up.
It really does. We're looking at a guide from the brand Lët'z, and it's titled The Importance of Counting Your Calories. Now, before you, the listener, roll your eyes and think, oh, I know what a calorie is, just pause.
Right.
Because going through this, I realized that while most of us know what it is, very few of us really get the mechanism behind it. We know the what, but we're missing the why and the how.
That's a really fair point. And looking at this text from Lët'z, they're not treating this like just some diet pamphlet. They frame it as a system. It's engineering, really.
The branding is also, it's intense. It's not soft. There's this recurring lion imagery all through the guide, and the tagline is, once a lion, always a lion.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they're trying to strip away that whole diet culture vibe, which can feel a little passive, and replace it with something, almost aggressive. Like taking control is an act of dominance.
It completely changes the psychological frame. And that's really the mission of this deep dive, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not here to tell you to eat a salad.
No.
We're here to unpack the engineering manual for the human body that this guide presents. It's about moving from, say, I hope I lose weight, to I have the data to guarantee I will.
From guesswork to precision.
That's it.
So let's get into the engine room then. The guide starts with a question that seems almost too simple. What is a calorie?
Right, but their answer is so good. If you look at the visuals in the source, they use a flame, a little graphic of a fire.
I saw that.
And that's the most accurate way to see it, because a calorie is, by definition, a unit of energy. It's technically a unit of heat.
So when we see 200 calories on a protein bar, we shouldn't be thinking fat or guilt. We should be thinking fuel, potential energy.
Exactly. It's just fuel.
Yeah.
And the text makes this super clear. Calories are what your body uses to, keep the lights on. Your heart beating, your lungs, your brain processing this conversation. It all costs energy.
It's the energy equation.
That's the law of thermodynamics, really. The balance between energy in and energy out. And the guide breaks this down into 3 states.
Okay, let's walk through them, because this is where people think they know, but the details get lost. First up, the one most people are chasing. The caloric deficit.
The deficit. So the text defines this simply. You're consuming fewer units of energy, fewer calories than your body is burning.
Right.
But the insight is why it works. It's not magic. You're creating a small energy crisis for your body. You've created a gap in the budget, and the body must fill that gap to survive.
It can't just print more money. It has to go to the savings account.
Precisely. And the savings account is your stored body fat. That is literally what fat is: stored energy for a future famine. A deficit just simulates a mild famine, forcing the body to liquidate those assets.
That's a much more powerful way to frame it. You're not losing weight, you're spending stored energy. But then there's the opposite state, which I think is crucial for our audience, the caloric surplus.
Yeah, and this gets demonized because we live in a culture that's just terrified of gaining any weight. But a surplus is a tool. It means you're bringing in more energy than you burn.
And you do that because...
Well, if you want to build a house, you need lumber and nails, right? You need raw materials. You can't just build a second floor out of thin air.
So for muscle growth, for hypertrophy, you need that extra energy.
Generally, yeah. The text says a surplus supports muscle repair and growth. Building muscle is metabolically expensive. It costs energy. If you're always in a deficit, your body is in save mode, not build mode.
That is such a hard mental shift for people, though. The idea that you have to eat more to get the physique you want feels... risky.
It feels risky if you're guessing. But biology doesn't care about feelings. It just cares about the inputs. And that brings us to the 3rd state, maintenance.
The Goldilocks zone.
The equilibrium. Energy in equals energy out. Your weight stays stable. This is actually the goal for most people, long term. You don't want to be dieting forever.
You just want to fuel your life. Deficit to cut, surplus to build, maintenance to live.
Exactly.
But the guide has this section, Why Calorie Tracking Matters, and it hits on something that I think explains why so many diets fail. It says, if you don't know how many calories you're eating, it's easy to overestimate or underestimate.
That's the critical why. We are famously bad at judging our own intake. There are studies on this. People will underreport what they ate by up to 50%.
50?
even when they're trying to be honest. We forget the bite of our kid's toast. We forget the oil in the pan. We ignore the latte.
So we think we're eating 1,800 calories, but really it's 2,400.
And then we blame our metabolism. We say, I'm in a deficit. Why isn't it working? The data would say, well, because you're not actually in a deficit. Tracking removes the blindfold.
Let's move to the benefit section then, because the source lists a few that go beyond just what the scale says. One is understanding your eating habits. It talks about mindless snacking.
This is all about awareness. The text shows this image of a tablet with a macronutrient breakdown. When you start tracking, it's like turning the lights on in a dark room.
Yeah.
Suddenly you see that healthy handful of nuts was 400 calories.
Which is a small meal, basically.
Right. Or that the salad dressing has more calories than the entire salad. It just forces an audit of your behavior. The guide uses the word empowerment, and I think that's perfect. It's not an accident anymore. It's a choice.
Speaking of choices, there's a benefit here that seems paradoxical at first. The guide argues tracking allows for more flexibility.
Yes. The flexibility paradox. It says counting calories doesn't mean giving up your favorite foods. This is so huge for making it last.
So how does that work? I think people hear flexibility and just think it's a free-for-all.
Think of it like a money budget. If your budget is $2,000 a month, you can absolutely spend $200 on a nice dinner. You just have to spend a bit less somewhere else to balance the books.
You're not banned from nice dinners.
Exactly. So if you want a donut, fine. It's, say, 300 calories. Your budget for the day is 2,000. You log the donut. You now have 1,700 left. You haven't failed. You just spent some of your budget.
That totally reframes the emotional side of it. It's not a moral issue. I was bad. It's a math issue. I spent my calories here.
It just neutralizes the drama. And that's key for sustainability. If you feel deprived, you'll eventually quit. If you can fit in the foods you love, you can do this forever.
There's one more benefit here I want to hit on, performance. It says knowing your intake can boost workout performance.
This is critical for the lions out there.
Yeah.
If you're training hard, you need fuel. A classic mistake is cutting calories so low that your workout they fall apart. You feel weak, your lifts go down.
You burn out, you're running on fumes.
Right. So tracking isn't just a ceiling, it's also a floor. It ensures you're eating enough to fuel your training and recovery. You want to lose fat, not muscle.
Okay, so the philosophy is sound. We get the why. Now for the how. This is where people get overwhelmed. The guide has a section on getting started, and it throws out some acronyms, BMR and TDEE.
Right, the vital signs of your metabolism. Let's break them down. BMR is basal metabolic rate.
And in plain English, that's...
Your coma calories.
Yeah.
It's the energy your body burns just to exist. If you lay in bed all day and did nothing, just breathing, pumping blood, that's your BMR.
It's the basic rent you pay to be alive.
Okay, so then what's TDE?
TDE is total daily energy expenditure. That's your BMR plus everything else. Walking, typing, working out, even digesting food. TDE is the real number, the total you burn in a day. So practically, the guide says use an online calculator or a coach to find that TDEE number first.
Correct. You can't set a budget if you don't know your income. TDEE is your income. If you want to lose weight, you eat, say, 300 to 500 calories less than that.
Got it. So once you have your target, the guide points to tools. It mentions apps like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer.
And those apps they've revolutionized this. 20 years ago, you'd be carrying around little notebooks. Now you just scan a barcode.
That feature is a game changer. You grab a yogurt, scan the code, and it's logged instantly.
It removes so much friction, but, and this is a huge but, the app is only a calculator. It doesn't know how much you ate. And that brings us to the tool that separates the amateurs from the pros.
The digital food scale. I feel like this is the most controversial appliance in the kitchen.
People hate it. They think it's obsessive. But the source material is clear. It's non-negotiable if you want accuracy. It says it ensures accurate portion sizes, especially for calorie-dense foods like nuts and oils.
With those specifically.
Because the margin for error is razor thin. A visual tablespoon of peanut butter can easily be double an actual tablespoon.
So you think you're eating 100 calories of oil, but it's really 200, maybe 300.
Exactly. And if your deficit for the day is only 300 calories, you just wiped out your entire progress with one generous pour of oil, and you'd have no idea. The scale just reveals the truth.
It's about data integrity. Okay, there's one more rule in this section, consistency.
Track every day.
Even on weekends or when eating out, this is the hard one.
This is the downfall of the Monday to Friday dieter. You can be perfect for 5 days, create a 2,500 calorie deficit, Then Saturday comes, you have wings and beer, you don't track, and you accidentally eat 3,000 calories over your maintenance.
And you just erase the whole week's work.
You erase the math. Then on Monday, the scale hasn't moved and you get discouraged. You need the full picture, the ugly data and the pretty data.
It's accountability, which leads us right into the myth-busting section because people still have hang-ups. Myth number 1, it's too restrictive.
We kind of touched on this, but it's not about cutting foods out. It's about fitting them in. It just challenges that binary thinking of clean versus dirty foods.
Right. A donut doesn't instantly make you fat.
No. They're just foods that are calorically expensive and foods that are cheap. If you have the budget, you can buy the expensive item. It's a framework, not a cage.
Okay, second myth, the practical one. It takes too much time.
This is a valid fear at the start, but the guide says once you get used to it, it becomes quick and easy. I think of it like learning to drive.
How so?
The first week you track, yeah, it's annoying. It might take 15 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
But the apps learn your habits. They remember your breakfast. After a month, tracking is maybe 3 minutes a day total.
And let's be honest, we all spend more than 3 minutes a day just scrolling, trying to decide what to order for dinner.
Or complaining that we can't lose weight. That takes time, too.
Fair point. Okay, last part of this section is accountability. It says tracking gives you clear data.
This is the antidote to emotional decision-making. If your progress stalls, you can adjust your intake based on facts rather than guesswork.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, say you've been eating 2,000 calories for a month and your weight hasn't moved. Without data, you might panic and, try a juice cleanse. With data, you just look at the log and say, okay, my maintenance is clearly 2,000, not 2,400. I need to drop to 1,800.
You act like a scientist. You just tweak one variable.
It turns your body into a solvable problem, not a mystery.
And I think that brings us full circle, back to the branding, the lion mindset. The text wraps up with this call to action, ready to unleash your potential.
It connects the boring act of weighing your chicken to the higher goal of self-mastery. Let's Roar frames this as mastering nutrition, training, and mindset all together. They're interconnected.
Once a lion, always a lion. It's a reminder that this isn't some 30-day challenge, it's a lifestyle.
That's the key word, lifestyle. The tools, the apps, the scale, they're just infrastructure to support a life where you are in control of the outcome.
Taking the wheel.
It is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you want our listener to get from this guide?
I think the text sums it up perfectly. What gets measured gets managed. We manage our finances, our schedules, our works. Why would we leave our nutrition, the literal fuel for our life, up to pure chance? This is just about taking management over your own biology.
And I'll leave you with this thought. We often see discipline like weighing food as the enemy of freedom. We think, I want to be free to eat whatever I want. But based on what we've unpacked, it seems like the opposite is true.
Structure creates freedom.
Exactly. The discipline of tracking gives you the freedom to eat the things you love without the anxiety of the unknown. It gives you the freedom to know for a fact that you're moving toward your goals. That is all for today's deep dive into the mechanics of the machine. We hope you feel a little less intimidated and a little more ready to take control. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, let's roar.